for the Mill Full of Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason and Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you're on the free Odyssey app. Good Tuesday morning. The playoffs kick off tonight at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees and the Red Sox excited to see these two great pitchers go toe-to-toe in this great baseball rivalry. You've got Garrett Crochet, you got Max Fried, so we'll get you ready for that. Boomer's getting you ready for that as he's got his Mickey Mantle jersey on, the number 7, obviously familiar to the Mick and familiar to Boomer Esiason. We are giving away Yankees Red Sox tickets today, so stay tuned for that. But of course, there is only one team, the New York Yankees, that you really feel great about, that are doing great things. And one of those bad teams was on display last night. I'm not sure what the glass half full moral victory is for the Jets this morning. For me, there isn't one. The Miami Dolphins are a bad football team. Obviously, they lose Tyreek Hill in a pretty bad injury, but there's turnovers, there's penalties. Aaron Glenn's going to have to cut a lot of guys this morning if he's cutting everybody that's fumbling and committing penalties. I guess that really worked and sent a message throughout the locker room. Sloppy, bad loss for them. And I think right now they probably are the second worst team in football, only to the New Orleans Saints, who, by the way, somehow are favored against the Giants. And I understand it's a home game. But, yeah, another great Jets performance Monday Night Football, and there are winless. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
You know, gee, I'm doing great. And by the way, you know, once upon a time around here, we had Mets fans for Yankees. And I wanted to wear my Joe Namath jersey this morning. I wanted to support Aaron Glenn. I wanted so much to support the Jets. And watching this game last night with the turnovers and the penalties, I mean, they slammed the ball right down the throat of the Miami Dolphins. I mean, Justin Fields accounted for over 300 yards himself, passing and running. I mean, that's who he is. He's not the most accurate guy. I know, when you have penalties like the Jets had, especially pre-snap penalties, offensive penalties, it goes back to the quarterback. The quarterback is got to be the leader on the field that keeps everybody on the same page. And if there's any, disruption in his snap count, or there's a little bit of panic because of the noise, whatever may be the reason for all these pre-snap penalties, that goes back to the communication part of the quarterback. The quarterback's got to be supremely in charge. Everybody's got to know what he's doing. And if he cleans all of that up, maybe they don't have as many pre-snap penalties. The other thing, obviously, to all of us, the freaking turnovers. The turnovers are killers, especially when you give the opposing team a short field on their offense, and the other one comes when you're going in to score a touchdown. I mean, I know what, it's easy to wake up this morning, and I know that, they're going to get hammered. They're going to get hammered because they're undisciplined. They make these mistakes. Believe me, I am totally understanding of all of that. I am here to tell you, and I'm not looking for silver lining. I'm not looking for moral victories. And it's easy to say this. It's not easy to do it in practice. And that is, and when I say in practice, I don't mean on the practice field. I mean in reality during a game. They just have to stop making these boneheaded errors at the most inopportune time. One or two errors you could live with. Multiple errors tells me there's an issue. And Aaron Glenn is very aware of it. He has tried to speak to it. Unfortunately for him, he's speaking so much to it that, now we can make fun of, letting go of players for fumbling, because now everybody's fumbling, it seems like.
I mean, the real alarming thing to me is no one expected this team to be very good. I didn't. But there's one thing that you can do, even if you're trying to rebuild and you're not all that talented and you're not going to have a winning season, and that's cut down on all this nonsense, which Aaron Glenn has been talking about, and they haven't been able to do that. I mean, they are. So you want to tell me that, okay, it's going to take some time, and we're kind of in a transition, and we don't have a good quarterback, and we're rebuilding this roster with the guys that we want, and all blah, 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 so low expectations. But one thing you can do is have this team play discipline, not turn the football over, not have dumb penalties, not have a guy have a fair catch at the 2-yard line. I mean, this is the type of stuff that you can, over training camp in the first couple of weeks, teach these guys And that's the number one platform, and I'm glad you said that, because we hear it so much around. That's the platform that he has been running on if he were a candidate, is we're going to clean this up, discipline football, You don't see any of that. They're horrible. I mean, and when you go, it's just so jet-like to go right down the field, push them around, and then fumble when you're about to go into the end zone. And then don't see a point for the entire rest of the half.
Yes. I can't argue with anything that you're saying. I could only look at it from, all right, they decided Justin Fields was going to be their quarterback, and this is who Justin is. He's a tremendous athlete. He can do things on the field that I could never even believe or even think that I could do because of his athleticism. He gets a little nervous at times. There probably are some communication issues that are going on. That's one of the reasons why you have penalties. But I know what Aaron has been saying, and unfortunately it's coming back to haunt him, but he's trying to preach the discipline that is required in order to win these football games. If they can limit those, unfortunately, crucial mistakes, and too many last night, obviously, that's why they lost. I mean, the fact is they lost by 6 points. They gave up the ball 3 times. They had, 13 penalties. And they ran for close to 200 yards on the ground. And I'm just telling you, that just goes to show you all of that undisciplined football is what's killing them. Right. I mean, they had over 400 total yards of offense. They held the Dolphins to 300 total yards. They knocked out Tyreek Hill. I mean, Aaron's got to be pulling his hair out because they have been close in 3 of these 4 games. And I know it doesn't seem like last night was close because of the turnovers. But, man, they're slamming a ball in there, and they're running it down their throats.
Yeah, I know, which is that's what's so frustrating. And when I was really impressed and encouraged watching that first drive because the Dolphins aren't any good. I mean, the Dolphins, we talked about how maybe Stephen Ross was going to be so frustrated if they lost this game on national TV to the Jets of all teams that he might have let go of Mike McDaniel this early in the season because that's the fever pitch that was going on down there and how hot his hot seat has gotten. And I'm thinking, man, this is great. This is an opportunity for them as they go out and they're just right down the field. And I'm thinking, this is a great start for them. And then bang, turnover. And it's just, I mean.
And that's the game, believe you me. He's, as a coach, he wants to hold people accountable. But, sooner or later, you also have to try to pick people up when they make mistakes like that because the first thing that happens when a player does fumble, we saw it with Derrick Henry. You watch him. Here's one of the best running backs of his era. He'll be a Hall of Fame running back, and even he fumbles, and then you see him on the sideline, his head's hanging.
Yeah.
And you got to go over and you got to pick him up. And Aaron's caught between the proverbial rock and a hard place. He is like right in the middle of this, where he's trying to build up his team, trying to build up his players, but his players are letting him down. And he can only do so much. I mean, I'd have those guys walking around with, footballs in their arms. They may change some guys. They may let some guys go this week again.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, this is who they are. I will tell you this. They're not, the Bengals are worse than they are. The Bengals are by far worse than they are. I mean, the Bengals gave up over 500 yards of offense last night. And I think had less than 200 yards of offense.
Yeah,
and had like 3 first downs or something.
Right,
It was an embarrassment.
Without Joe Burrow and the defense being as bad as it is, sure. I'll give you that one. So the Saints are worse. The Bengals are worse.
I mean,
Jets
are
right
sad
there.
Watching these, at least there's a competitive fight in the Jets. I didn't see that from the Bengals last night, but the Jets definitely had it. It's going to be a long year. It's going to be it's got to get better from the mistake standpoint. I do see guys flying around. I see guys showing effort, but when you fumble the ball, when you have these stupid penalties, that just it makes the whole thing look bad. And I know he said, and a couple of the players have said, hey, we're close. And a couple of these penalties last night, called on Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. I mean, come on.
And also not being called on Miami.
Yes.
You had that one was clearly a late hit in the fourth quarter. They do end up going down and scoring on that drive, but it should have been a 15-yard penalty.
How about the roughing the passer with Tua running down the field, and the guy doesn't even hit him? Yeah. It looks like he hits him,
but he didn't.
But he didn't even hit him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, the couple of those. So when you look at that number at over 100 yards in penalty yards, it is a little bit skewed because there were a couple of bad calls there. But it's one of those things where it's like almost like a reputation thing.
It's like when you're a bad team, bad things happen.
Yeah.
But he's trying. I'm telling you, he's trying his damnedest to fight through it. And I know. Believe me, I heard from all the guys out in the bullpen this morning. Mm-hmm. What are we doing? We suck. Why are we doing? And I understand the mentality. Here we go again. Same old Jets. He's got to fight through it. He's just got to stand tall. He's got to fight through it. He's got to face the music. He's got to continue to preach what he's been trying to preach, everything that he believes in, everything that he learned from Dan Campbell and Sean Payton and Bill Parcells. He has no choice. I mean, it's going to be coming at him like an avalanche, but he has no choice other than to stand tall, be the person that's leading this team at the moment. That's what he's supposed to do. That's his job. And he will point out the flaws without question. I know he will. And I know this is miserable for him. Miserable because he never expected this to be the case, especially with their schedule. I mean, they had 4 teams, maybe the Bills. I'll take that one off the board. But they had 3 other teams that they could have beaten.
Yeah, and they're sitting here at 0-4. So, and I guess I heard Al saying there's no Jet head coach has ever started 0-5, even with the miserable seasons and miserable head coaches they have had. They've never started their career 0-5. So, they've got the Dallas Cowboys at home on Sunday. So that'll be an interesting one. Of course, the Cowboys score a lot and give up a lot, as we've seen multiple times this year. I also think there's a lot of guys still here that have this stench on them from going through what has happened the last couple of years with the Jets and the high expectations and the Aaron Rodgers this and just things blowing up in their face and being the drama queen team that they were the last few years. If you think about the turning of the Detroit Lions, you always reference back to the Dan Campbell and the 0-11 and all that stuff.
0-11, yes.
So so what was the biggest thing that changed was the roster turnover and the drafts that they had and getting the right guys. So I believe that Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji, they had one under their belt. They're going to have more. Well, how many, I don't know. But getting those right guys in is going to change because there's just too many guys that are here that I think have been overrated too, to be honest with you, especially on the defense. And I was also thinking about Garrett Wilson. I mean, watching this guy, he is as talented a wide receiver. He's right up there with any wide receiver talent-wise. I mean, if he actually had consistently, now Aaron Rodgers was here, but him and Garrett Wilson, they just, for whatever reason, couldn't figure it out. Like, if he actually had a quarterback that was good that he had a relationship with, I mean, he could be putting up numbers like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and everybody else. I mean, some of the stuff that he does is just mind-blowing how athletic he is.
He's hamstrung.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. And
well, good thing he got paid already. Because
that's what they paid him for, one reason only. Because if he wasn't paid and he was playing right now, all you'd be hearing about is him leaving.
Yeah.
That's all you'd hear about. So they basically bought out their contracts, he and Sauce Gardner, early. They didn't have to do it. And they wanted to make sure that they were going to be locker room leaders in the face of crap like this. Because I'm telling you, it's easy for guys, especially high-profile guys, to start talking about leaving and don't want to be here, don't want to be around this losing culture. So you're not going to hear that from those 2 guys. They got paid, and they should be happy they got paid, and they should be happy that the team believed in them and that they're going to be foundational players. I do think that they have some really good players at certain positions. This team is not devoid of talent. It's just making the crucial mistake at the wrong time. I think when you're Aaron Glenn, you have to try to it's almost a little bit of propaganda. It's not so much with the fans as it is with your team. You got to go in there and you got to break down the tape and you got to point out, look, guys, if we don't fumble here, if we don't do this here, if we don't do that there, you know how many games we should be 3-1. We should be 3-1. I mean, we can physically stack up with anybody we play. It's not like we're getting steamrolled. Like the Bengals got steamrolled last night. And there have been teams that, I would say that the Jets got steamrolled by the Bills and that, Justin Fields was overwhelmed in that game and he ends up getting hurt in that game.
Yeah.
But they can hang with all these teams. There's no question about it. But it's the self-inflicted wounds that are killing them right now. And to me, that is a new quarterback and a new system. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's the reality of it. And you have kids that are giving effort, but just making boneheaded plays, and they're leading the penalties. and they're 0-4. And that's right. Bill Parcells said your record tells you what you are or says you what you are, and they are a winless team. But I look at it from a standpoint of trying to build something that Aaron Glenn is in the middle of, knowing that it wasn't going to be easy. It's going to be hard. There are a lot of voices out there. There's a lot of negativity, and he's just going to have to stand tall in the face of it. That's all there is to it. That's the reality of his job.
Yeah, and really, the Jet fan wasn't expecting much. I don't think the NFL community looking at the Jets was expecting much. You really just need a couple reasons to believe that he's on the right track, and he really hasn't given you enough. I mean, that's just a little sign that things are starting to turn, or he's the right guy, or man, I'm starting to see it. And I also think fresh off what we saw with the Giants, the first time in I don't know how long they actually had an energy around them where you're saying we might be on the right track. I mean, even when Daniel Jones was here, it never had any momentum, and we'll see with Jackson Dart if it continues. But I think fresh off of that, you just want a morsel, something, if you're a Jet fan, to say we got the right coach. And so far, it's just been the same nonsense, undisciplined crap, losing, having this game on national TV to a division rival that's terrible, by the way. It could be one of the worst teams in football themselves, losing that game because you turned the ball over 3 times and had 100 yards worth of penalties. It's infuriating.
I'm just telling you, I look at their schedule. Their schedule is not all that difficult given the teams that are on that schedule. So, they'll get his first win here in the next couple of weeks. I don't know if it will be Dallas this week or Denver the week after that. But then they got Carolina, they got Cincinnati, Cleveland. They're Baltimore. I don't know what the situation with Lamar Jackson is right now. I mean, it's not like they have a murderer's row like the Giants do of a schedule. I mean, they have all these teams pretty much, I believe, they can hang with. They should be able to hang with.
Well, I mean, definitely. I mean, Denver's I can't quite figure them out. That game's overseas. But Carolina and Cincinnati have been bad. Cleveland's got a great defense, but they've, obviously are not a good football team. So, yeah, I mean, there's a few games in there that they should be able to win if they cut down on the nonsense and still are able to play the football that we've seen in bursts.
It's pretty much when I take a look at their schedule and you see 34-32, 29-27, 27-21. These are all one-score games, except for the Buffalo game in week 2. And in every single one of those games, there's a key moment or key lack of discipline somewhere along the line. A drop pass, a fumble, a wide receiver left wide open against Pittsburgh. I mean, there were breakdowns. That I believe that Aaron Glenn and most of the coaches over there probably feel like it's more of a mental thing right now than it is a physical thing. But it's hard to really sing the praises of a guy who's got an 0-4 team. But I'm just telling you, he's got them playing hard. It sounds easy, but they just got to figure out the mistake part of it. That's what's killing them, and that's the frustrating part for the fan base, because you're gonna see 0-4, and you're just gonna this sucks. Here we go again, and I understand why that would be the case, but I also understand that it takes a grown man to stand in that locker room and be the leader in situations like this, and try to impart any sort of wisdom that he may have and talk to them about protecting the football and focusing in and not creating as many penalties, because ultimately that's what did them in last night.
All right, Boomer and Gio just getting started on this Tuesday morning, a Tuesday morning that turns into Game 1 between the Red Sox and Yankees at 6:08 tonight. Of course, coverage all day on WFAN. You can hear the game on WFAN. We're giving away Yankees-Red Sox tickets in the 8 a.m. hour this morning.